What would you do if you watched your own brother try to slip something into your drink at a family holiday dinner just to push you out of your father's future inheritance? I did not shout, and I did not warn anyone. I simply turned the tray, watched his wife take the glass, and listened to the laughter while I planned how, by tomorrow, his fight for the company would end on my terms. Before we go any further, take a second to subscribe, hit the hype button, and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? The dining room smells like roasted turkey and my father's expensive wine. I set the wrapped book on the side table, something about industrial supply chains Trent mentioned last month, and take my usual seat at the far end. The chair feels smaller than I remember, like the whole house has been recalibrated to make me fit into a corner. Kilon arrives 20 minutes late. He always does. The front door bangs open and his voice fills every room before he even reaches us. Sorry. Traffic was insane. He is not sorry. He carries a bottle with a gold label, the kind you see in airport duty-free ads. Brought the good stuff, Dad. Figured we should celebrate. Celebrate what? I lost my position as commercial director 3 months ago, resigned before the restructuring could push me out. Kilon knows this. Everyone knows this. Trent stands and shakes his hand, then pulls him into one of those half-hugs men do when they are pretending everything is fine. Good to see you, son. Raina follows Kilon in, her heels clicking on the hardwood. She kisses Trent's cheek and slides into the seat beside her husband. She does not look at me. She never does unless Kilon tells her to. We sit. Trent carves the turkey. Kilon pours the wine. So, Phoenix? Kilon leans back in his chair, swirling his glass. How's the job hunt going? I feel every pair of eyes turn toward me. Trent pauses mid-slice. Raina smiles into her napkin. I am taking my time, I say. Exploring options. Options? Kilon laughs. It is loud and sharp. That is one way to say unemployed. Trent frowns but does not interrupt. He never does, not when Kilon is performing. Actually, Kilon continues, I was reading about your old company. They just landed that government contract you were negotiating. Guess they did not need you after all. My jaw tightens. I negotiated that contract for 8 months. Laid the groundwork, built the relationships, wrote half the proposal. But I am not going to defend myself at a holiday dinner. Not here, not now. Glad it worked out for them, I say. Trent clears his throat. Phoenix has more experience than most people twice his age. Commercial work is not easy. Oh, I know, Dad. I know. Kilon raises his glass in a mock toast. Phoenix is the genius, the responsible one, the guy who does everything right and still ends up, well. He gestures vaguely at me. Raina giggles. Trent's face hardens, but he says nothing. The meal continues, plates pass, voices overlap. I eat in silence, answering when spoken to, nodding when expected. This is my role now, the one who fell, the one who could not hold on. The cautionary tale Kilon uses to make himself look better. Halfway through the meal, Trent asks me about the old company's logistics strategy. I start to explain the supply chain issues we faced last winter, but Kilon cuts me off. Dad, you do not want to hear about that. Let me tell you about the expansion plan I have been working on for your company. Trent's company. The mid-sized components manufacturer he built from nothing. The place I used to visit on weekends as a kid, watching him negotiate with suppliers in the front office. The place Kilon only visits for photo opportunities and board meetings he does not prepare for. Kilon talks for 10 minutes straight. Big plans, new markets, aggressive growth. He uses words like synergy and disruption without understanding what they mean. Trent listens, nodding occasionally, but I see the fatigue in his eyes. He has heard this speech before, then I see it. Kilon leans forward, reaching across the table for the bread basket. His hand passes over the drinks tray. For just a second, his fingers brush the rim of one glass. Mine. It is subtle. Practiced. I almost miss it. But I do not miss it. He settles back into his seat, smiling at Raina, and continues talking. My heart is pounding, but my face stays calm. I have spent years in negotiation rooms. I know how to hide what I am thinking. I wait. 5 minutes later, Kilon gestures toward the tray. Dad, pass that down, will you? Trent slides the tray toward the center. Kilon pushes it closer to me. Phoenix, you look thirsty. I look at the glasses. 3 of them. One has a faint smudge near the base, the one Kilon touched. I smile. Thanks. I reach for the tray. But instead of taking the smudged glass, I rotate the entire tray 180 degrees, slowly, casually, like I am just adjusting it for better reach. Now the smudged glass is in front of Raina. Here, Raina, I say. You have not had anything to drink yet. She blinks, surprised I am speaking to her. Oh, thank you. She takes the glass. Kilon's glass. The one meant for me. She drinks. 10 minutes later, her face goes pale. She sets her fork down carefully, like she is afraid it might shatter. Excuse me. She stands. Her chair scrapes. She walks quickly toward the hallway, one hand pressed to her stomach. Kilon watches her go, confused. Babe? Trent frowns. Is she all right? I do not know. Kilon stands, glancing back at the table. Must be something she ate. I take a bite of turkey. It tastes like victory. The rest of the evening is awkward. Raina returns 20 minutes later, pale and shaky. Kilon fusses over her, playing the concerned husband. Trent offers to call a doctor. She waves it off. Just a bad reaction to something, she says. I will be fine. The table murmurs sympathetic noises. Someone makes a joke about holiday food poisoning. Nervous laughter follows. I say nothing. I watch Kilon's face. He is worried, not about Raina, about what happened, about what it means. He glances at me once, just once. I meet his eyes and smile. Later, back in my apartment, I sit in the dark with my phone. The family group chat is buzzing. Updates about Raina. Speculation about what made her sick. Kilon is typing long, worried messages, playing the role. I screenshot every message before anyone can edit or delete them. Then I set the phone down and stare at the ceiling. Tomorrow, everything changes. I did not plan to lose my job. Nobody plans that. One day, you are the commercial director at a leading state components manufacturer. The next day, restructuring. Budget cuts. Your position has been eliminated. They offered me a lower role. I walked instead. Pride, maybe, or just exhaustion. I spent 15 years building that career. Started in procurement, moved to contracts, then sales strategy, finally commercial director. I knew every supplier, every contract term, every regulation that could make or break a deal. I could walk into a room of hostile negotiators and walk out with a signed agreement. That was my value, my proof. And then it was gone. Trent sent money the first month. I sent it back. He called, asked if I needed help. I said no. I have savings. I have options. I have time to think. What I did not say. I have nothing but time now. I used to visit Trent's factory every few months. Not officially, just stopping by, walking the floor, talking to the workers. They remembered me from the days when I helped troubleshoot a production bottleneck or recommended a better vendor for steel components. I understood the work. I respected it. Kilon visited for pictures, press releases, awkward speeches where he called everyone the backbone of the company while checking his phone. The workers knew the difference. I walk through the factory now, 3 days after the holiday dinner. The floor manager, a man named Garrett, waves me over. Phoenix, good to see you. Heard you left the government supplier. Yeah, time for something new. Their loss. He hands me a safety helmet. Want to see the new press? Just installed last month. We walk through the noise and heat. Machines stamping, welding, cutting, the smell of oil and metal. Garrett explains the press specs, the efficiency gains, the maintenance schedule. I ask questions. He answers. It feels normal, real. Your brother was here last week, Garrett says. Took some photos for the website. Sounds like him. Garrett's expression shifts, not quite a frown, just careful. He mentioned expansion plans, new markets, aggressive timelines. What did you think? I think your dad knows what he is doing. It is a polite way of saying Kilon does not. I thank Garrett and leave. Outside, I sit in my car for a long time, staring at the building. This place represents 40 years of Trent's life. He built it from a garage operation to a mid-sized manufacturer with steady contracts and loyal workers. It is not flashy. It is not a tech startup. But it works. Kilon sees it as a bank account, a status symbol, a thing he deserves because he is the older son. I see it as something that could collapse under the wrong leadership. Later, I walk through the park near my apartment. The path is empty. Cold. I sit on a bench and think about the conversation Trent and I had 5 years ago. We were in his study, late evening. He had just finalized a major contract renewal. I have been thinking about the future, he said. When I step back, who runs things? I waited. You have the skills, Phoenix, the patience. Kilon has the energy, but... He trailed off. But what? He needs to grow up first. It was the closest Trent ever came to saying he did not trust Kilon with the company. But he never wrote it down, never made it official, just left it hanging in the air like a promise that could be taken back. Kilon spent his 20s in England, supposedly studying business. Trent paid for everything. Tuition, rent, travel. Kilon dropped out after 3 semesters and stayed another 2 years, partying and sending photos of himself at clubs. I worked through college, night classes, day jobs. I paid my own way because Trent's money was already stretched thin, keeping Kilon afloat. When Kilon came back, Trent gave him a position at the company, not because he earned it, because he is family. I never asked for anything. I built my own career, made my own name, and when I lost my job, Kilon saw it as proof that I was weaker, that I did not have what it takes. My phone buzzes. A message from Trent. We should talk about the future. Come by the study this week. I stare at the message for a long time. Then I reply, when? Thursday, 7. I close my eyes and let the cold air settle over me. Somewhere in my chest, something is shifting. The part of me that wanted to believe Trent would figure this out on his own is fading. The part that is willing to act is waking up. I think about my mother. She passed when I was 16, Kilon 19. Cancer, fast and brutal. In her last weeks, she pulled me aside one afternoon while Trent was at the factory and Kilon was out with friends. You are the one who will have to be strong, she said. Her voice was thin, but her eyes were clear. Your brother is loud. Your father listens to loud, but loud is not the same as right. I did not understand then. I do now. The hospital waiting area smells like disinfectant and bad coffee. We sit in plastic chairs, me, Trent, Kilon, while Raina is in the back with a doctor. Nobody is talking. Kilon keeps checking his phone. Trent stares at the floor. A nurse finally comes out. She is stable. The doctor will be out in a moment. Kilon stands. What happened? The doctor will explain. We wait. 10 minutes. 15. Then a tired-looking woman in scrubs approaches. Your wife had a reaction to something she ingested, she says, looking at Kilon. We are running tests, but it appears to be a mild sedative or similar compound. Did she take any medication today? Kilon's face goes blank. No, nothing. The doctor nods slowly. Well, something was in her system. We will know more soon. She can go home tonight, but she needs rest. Kilon thanks her and walks toward the treatment area. Trent stands, rubbing his face. A sedative, he says quietly. How does that just happen? I say nothing. In the parking lot afterward, Kilon pulls me aside. His grip on my arm is tight. Did you see anything at dinner? Anything strange? I meet his eyes. Like what? I do not know. Raina does not just get sick like that. Maybe she is stressed. You two have been fighting a lot lately, right? His jaw tightens. We are fine. If you say so. He lets go of my arm and walks to his car. I watch him drive away, then sit in my own car for 20 minutes, thinking. Later, Trent asks me to meet him in his study. I drive over after dark. The house is quiet. He is waiting with 2 glasses of water and a tired expression. Sit. I sit. The doctor said Raina had a sedative in her drink. I heard. Kilon is saying it was bad food, a contaminated bottle, something from the restaurant they went to before dinner. Trent looks at me. But that does not make sense. Nobody else got sick. I stay quiet. Phoenix. His voice is harder now. Do you know something? I take a breath. I saw Kilon touch one of the glasses before we started eating. I thought it was strange, so I moved the tray. Trent's face goes pale, then red. You think he tried to slip something into what you were drinking? I do not know what he tried to do, but yes, that is what I think. He stands, pacing. That is insane. He would not. Dad. He touched my glass. Raina drank from it. She got sick. The doctor found a sedative. You can believe it was an accident if you want, but I do not. Trent stops pacing. His hands are shaking. If that is true, if he really did that, why? Because he wants the company, and he thinks I am in his way. Silence. Trent sinks into his chair. I have been putting off decisions, about succession, about who runs things when I am gone. I thought I had time. I thought. He trails off. I thought Kilon would grow up. He has not. And you? Trent looks at me. You lost your job. You have been out of work for months. How do I know you are not just bitter? It stings, but I keep my voice level. You do not. But I am not the one who put something in someone's drink. He rubs his eyes. I need proof. I cannot accuse him without proof. I know. Then find it. Or let this go. Because if you are wrong, Phoenix, you will destroy this family. I leave the study. Outside, I sit in my car and breathe slowly. My hands are shaking now. Not from fear. From something colder. 2 days later, I meet Lorian at a busy family restaurant near Trent's house. She used to work in compliance at my old company. Now she is in internal control somewhere else. She is smart, careful, the kind of person who sees patterns before anyone else does. I tell her about the dinner, the glass, Raina, the doctor. I do not use names, just facts. She listens, stirring her coffee. You are describing intent. I know. And you think it is about money. I think it is about control, about making sure I am not in the picture when decisions get made. She sets her cup down. Inheritance fights are ugly. People do things they would never do otherwise. They rationalize it. They tell themselves they are protecting what is theirs. So what do? You stop hoping someone else will fix it. You collect facts, numbers, proof. You make it impossible to deny. How? She smiles. You already know how. You spent 15 years doing this for contracts. Treat it like a negotiation. Build your case. Control the room. We talk for another hour. She tells me about cases she has seen. Family businesses torn apart by succession fights. Brothers who stopped speaking. Fathers who regretted waiting too long to make hard choices. The thing about family conflicts, she says, is that everyone thinks love will solve it. But love does not solve bad incentives. Structure does. Legal frameworks do. Clear rules do. When I leave the restaurant, she sends me a text. If you really want the truth, start with your father's company records and his old drafts with the lawyer Helia Vong. I sit in my car and read the message 3 times. Then I call Helia. The company accounting office is small. 2 desks, 1 filing cabinet, a wall of binders. Marcel sits at the larger desk, reading something on his computer. He looks up when I knock. Phoenix, twice in 1 month. Should I be worried? Just trying to understand how things are going. He leans back in his chair. Your father did not send you? No. Marcel studies me for a moment. Then he closes his office door. Sit. I sit. I have been here 23 years, he says. I have seen good decisions and bad ones. Lately, there have been more bad ones. Like what? He pulls up a file on his screen. Large personal transfers, travel expenses that do not match any business trip I know about, consulting fees for people I have never heard of. He turns the monitor toward me. Your brother is treating this company like his personal account. I lean forward, scanning the numbers. Transfers to Kilon's private accounts, charges for luxury hotels, payments labeled business development with no supporting documentation. Does Trent know? Some of it. Not all. He trusts Kilon to handle certain things without oversight. That trust is expensive. How expensive? Marcel clicks through a few more screens. Numbers scroll past. Each one is another small cut into the company's finances. Separately, they look minor. Together, they form a pattern of systematic misconduct. Last year alone, close to $200,000 in questionable expenses. This year is tracking higher. I feel my stomach drop. 200,000? Give or take. And that is just what I can trace easily. If I did a full forensic audit, I would probably find more. Marcel opens another folder on his desktop. Look at this. Conference in Miami. Your brother charged $15,000 for attendance, accommodation, and meals. I called the conference organizer. Kilon never registered, never attended. Where did the money go? I do not know. But 3 days after the charge went through, there are photos on his social media. Him and Raina at a resort. Different resort. Not the conference hotel. I scroll through more entries. A consulting payment to a firm that does not exist. Travel expenses to cities where the company has no clients. Vendor invoices that Marcel cannot match to any delivered goods or services. Why have you not told my father? Marcel sighs. I have. 3 times. Each time he talks to Kilon. Kilon promises to be more careful. Then it starts again. Your father does not want to believe his son is stealing from him. It is not stealing if Trent knows about it. Is it not? When the explanation is a lie? When the promises are empty? Marcel shakes his head. I have been doing this long enough to know the difference between legitimate business expenses and someone funding a lifestyle they cannot afford. He pulls up a spreadsheet showing monthly patterns. See this spike every quarter? Right before board review meetings, Kilon ramps up his activity, makes himself look busy. Then after the meeting, the expenses drop again. It is calculated. Can I get copies of this? He hesitates. Why? Because I need to show my father what is happening before it is too late. Marcel stares at me for a long moment. Then he nods. Your father built this company with his bare hands. I watched him work 16-hour days when you and your brother were kids. I watched him nearly lose everything during the 2008 crisis and fight his way back. I cannot watch Kilon destroy it. He prints a summary, not the full records, just enough to show the pattern. He adds notes in the margins, highlighting the most egregious examples. Then he hands it to me. Be careful. Kilon does not like being questioned. And he has your father's ear. Not for much longer. I fold the papers and leave. In my car, I open the folder and stare at the numbers. Each line is a small wound in the company, small enough that Trent can ignore them, big enough that they will bleed the business dry if they continue. I think about the workers I saw on the factory floor, the ones who depend on steady paychecks, the suppliers who have built relationships with this company over decades. The clients who trust the quality because Trent built a reputation on reliability. Kilon sees none of that. He sees money, status, a way to fund a life he never earned. I drive home and spread everything on my desk. The medical report from Raina's hospital visit, the screenshots from the family group chat, the financial summary from Marcel. I organize it all into a folder, label it, date it. My phone rings. Unknown number. I answer. Phoenix Halder? Yes. This is Victoria Chen from Apex Industrial. We worked together on the government supply contract last year. I remember. How are you? Good. Listen, I heard you left your position. I wanted to reach out. We have an opening for a senior contracts manager. I thought of you immediately. For a moment, I consider it. A way back into the world I left. A salary, a title. Proof that I did not fail. That is generous, I say, but I am exploring other options right now. No pressure, but if things change, call me. You were the best negotiator I ever worked with. After we hang up, I sit in the quiet. 3 months ago, that call would have felt like salvation. Now it feels like a distraction. I am not looking for a way back. I am looking for a way forward. I call Helia Vong. She answers on the 3rd ring. Phoenix. I was wondering when you would reach out. You were? Your father mentioned you might. He has been unsettled lately. I need to talk to you about his succession plan. He does not have one, not officially. He had drafts, years ago. You prepared them. Silence. Then, yes. But he never signed anything. He kept saying he needed more time. Can you find those drafts? I can. But Phoenix, even if I do, they are not legally binding unless he signs them now, and he has been resistant to making final decisions. What if I can give him a reason to decide? She pauses. Then call me when you are ready. I am ready now. Come by my office tomorrow, 2 p.m. Bring everything you have. That evening, I am leaving the factory parking lot when Kilon's car pulls in front of mine, blocking the exit. He gets out, slamming his door. What are you doing here, Phoenix? Visiting. Visiting. He steps closer. You have been here 3 times this week, talking to Marcel, talking to Garrett. What are you sniffing around for? Just making sure everything is clear. His jaw tightens. Clear. You think you are going to find something? Some mistake? Some proof that I am not good enough? I am not looking for anything, Kilon. I am just paying attention. You need to stay in your lane. You are unemployed. You have no position here, no authority. Dad asked me to help run things, not you. I meet his eyes. Did he? Or did you just assume? His face flushes. For a second, I think he is going to take a swing at me. His fists clench at his sides, but he does not. Instead, he leans in close enough that I can smell the cologne he wears. Expensive, overpowering. Whatever you think you know, Phoenix, it does not matter. I am the oldest. I am the one Dad trusts. And when he steps down, this company is mine. We will see. He stares at me for a long moment. His breathing is heavy, angry. Then he gets back in his car and drives off, tires squealing. I sit in my car, breathing slowly. My hands are steady now. The confrontation did not rattle me. If anything, it confirmed what I already knew. Kilon is scared, and scared people make mistakes. My phone buzzes, a message from Helia. Found the old drafts. Can you come by tomorrow? I text back immediately. What time? 2 p.m. I will be there. I drive home slowly, thinking through every step. Tomorrow, I meet with Helia and see what legal framework exists. Then, I present everything to Trent. Then, we set up the meeting. Every piece has to fall into place in the right order. At home, I make coffee and sit at my desk. I open my laptop and start writing notes, not just about the evidence, about the argument, the logic, the structure of how I will present this to Trent. He is not a man who responds to emotion. He responds to facts, to numbers, to clear reasoning. I will give him all 3. Helia's law office is on the third floor of a narrow building downtown. Clean, professional, the kind of place that smells like old paper and new leather. She meets me in a conference room with a stack of folders. "These are the drafts your father and I worked on 6 years ago," she says, spreading them across the table. "He wanted to set up a succession structure, something that would protect the company and give clear authority to the next leader." I flip through the pages. Legal language, clauses about management control, decision-making authority, financial oversight, and near the end, a section titled Appointment of Managing Director. He never signed any of this? He got close. Then Kilon came back from England and convinced him to wait, said he wanted to be involved in the planning. Your father agreed and the whole thing stalled. Can we use this now? If your father is willing to sign, yes. But Phoenix, this is not just about signing papers. This is about him choosing one son over the other. That is not easy for a parent. I know. She leans back in her chair, studying me. What changed? Why now? I tell her about the glass, the hospital, the financial records. She listens without interrupting, occasionally making notes on a legal pad. So you have motive, she says when I finish. You have circumstantial evidence, but you do not have a smoking gun. What would count as a smoking gun? A confession, witnesses, clear documentation that Kilon intended harm. What you have is suggestive, but not definitive. Then what do I do? She taps the drafts. You give your father a choice. You show him what you have found, and you give him a legal structure that protects the company regardless of which son he picks. If he chooses you, these documents give you real authority. If he chooses Kilon, they force accountability and oversight. Will he sign? That depends on how much he trusts you, and how much he fears what Kilon might do. We spend the next 2 hours going through the documents line by line. Helia explains each clause, each protection, each mechanism for control. By the end, I understand the framework completely. It is elegant, simple, and it gives the managing director real power while preventing anyone from looting the company. If your father signs this, Helia says, whoever he names as managing director will have authority over all operational decisions, financial allocations, and strategic planning. The other son will remain in the family, but without the ability to make unilateral decisions or access company funds without approval. And if Kilon contests it, he can try, but these documents are airtight. I wrote them to withstand legal challenges. As long as your father is of sound mind when he signs, which he is, they will hold up in any court. She pulls out another document. This is a secondary protection, a shareholders' agreement that requires dual signatures for any major expenditure over $10,000. It also mandates quarterly financial reviews with an independent auditor. Marcel would love that. Marcel is already on board. I spoke with him this morning. He is willing to testify to the financial irregularities if necessary. I lean back in my chair. You have been planning this. I have been hoping for this, she corrects. Your father is a good man, but he has been in denial about Kilon for too long. Someone needed to force the issue. Why did you not do it yourself? Because it could not come from me. It had to come from you, from inside the family. Otherwise, Kilon would claim outside interference, and your father might believe him. She is right. Trent would never accept a lawyer telling him how to handle his sons, but he might accept his younger son presenting facts and asking for protection. There is one more thing, Helia says. She slides a thin folder across the table. I did some digging into Kilon's finances, public records. Nothing illegal. He is in debt, significant debt. I open the folder, credit card statements, loan documents, a second mortgage on his house. How much? Close to $300,000, and the interest is compounding. He is making minimum payments. So the company money is not just for lifestyle, it is to service debt. Exactly. Which means if your father cuts him off, he will be in serious trouble. That makes him desperate, and desperate people do dangerous things. I think about the glass, the sedative in Raina's drink, the way Kilon looked at me in the parking lot. He is already dangerous. Then we need to move quickly. Helia gathers the documents into a neat stack. I can have updated drafts ready by tomorrow morning. All your father needs to do is review them with me and sign. What if he refuses? Then you have done everything you can. But Phoenix, I do not think he will refuse. Not after you show him what you have found. I leave the office with copies of the drafts and the financial information about Kilon's debt. That night, I call Trent and ask to meet. He agrees. Thursday at 7, just like before. The days between feel longer than they should. I keep busy. I visit the factory again, this time talking to some of the older workers who remember when Trent first started the company. One of them, a machine operator named Vincent, tells me about the early years. Your dad used to work the floor himself. He knew every machine, every process. He did not just own the place, he understood it. Does Kilon ever come down here? Vincent shakes his head. Not really. He walks through sometimes with visitors, takes pictures, but he does not stop to talk, does not ask questions. And me? Vincent smiles. You ask questions. Good ones. That is how I know you care. On Wednesday, I drive past Kilon's house. It is in a neighborhood I could never afford. Large lots, gated driveways, the kind of place that screams wealth. But knowing what I know now about his debt, it looks different. Not like success, like a facade. On Thursday, I arrive at Trent's house early. He is in his study, reading something on his tablet. He looks older than he did a month ago. Tired. The weight of the decision is already on him, even though he has not made it yet. Phoenix, sit. I sit. I place the folder on his desk. What is this? Proof. He opens the folder, reads the medical report, the financial summary, the screenshots, the information about Kilon's personal debt. His face hardens with each page. Where did you get this? Marcel gave me the financial records. The hospital gave Raina the medical report. The screenshots are from the family chat. The debt information is public record. He sets the folder down. This does not prove Kilon tried to slip anything into what you consumed. No. But it proves he has been misusing company funds. And it shows Raina had a sedative in her system after drinking from a glass he touched. And it shows he is desperate. Trent rubs his face. Even if I believe you, what do you want me to do? I slide the legal drafts across the desk. Sign these. He picks them up, scans the first few pages. These are the old succession documents, from years ago. Helia updated them. They give clear authority to whoever you choose as managing director. They also set up financial oversight and accountability for anyone in a leadership role. You want me to name you as my successor? I want you to protect the company. If you think Kilon is the right person, name him. But put these protections in place. Make sure he cannot run it into the ground. Trent stares at the documents for a long time. His hands are shaking slightly. I stay quiet, letting him process. I remember when you were 10, he says finally. You came to the factory on a Saturday. I was dealing with a supplier dispute, angry phone calls, threats to cut us off. You sat in the corner, quiet, just watching. Afterward, you asked me why I did not just find a new supplier. What did you say? I said relationships matter more than convenience, that you build a business on trust, not just transactions. He looks at me. You remembered that, did not you? I saw it in how you worked, how you negotiated. Yes. Kilon never learned that lesson. He thinks business is about being loud, about making demands, about taking what you can get. He still has time to learn. Trent shakes his head. No, he does not. He is 45 years old. If he was going to change, he would have done it by now. He sets the documents down. I need time. How much time? A week. I will meet with Helia. I will review everything, and then I will decide. I stand to leave. At the door, I turn back. One more thing. I think we should have a meeting. You, me, Kilon, and the key managers. A strategic update. Let everyone know what the plan is. Why? Because whatever you decide, it should be clear. Public. No room for misunderstanding. He nods slowly. All right, I will set it up. Over the next week, I barely sleep. I go over every document, every number, every possible argument Kilon might make. I rehearse conversations in my head. I imagine the meeting 100 different ways. On the third day, I drive to the factory again, not to gather more evidence, just to walk the floor, to remind myself what I am fighting for. Garrett sees me and waves. Phoenix, you are becoming a regular again. Just checking in. Good. We could use more of that. He gestures to the production line. New order came in yesterday. Government contract. 6-month timeline. That is great. Yeah. Your dad is good at landing those, always has been. He pauses. Your brother tried to renegotiate the terms last week, wanted to speed up delivery in exchange for a higher price. I told him it could not be done without compromising quality. He got upset. What did my father say? He backed me up, told Kilon we do not cut corners. Garrett looks at me, but I could tell it bothered him, having to choose between his sons like that. I nod. Yeah, I imagine it does. On the 4th day, I meet Lorian for coffee again. She wants to know how things are progressing. I have the evidence, I tell her. I have the legal structure. I have my father's attention. Now I just have to wait. Waiting is the hardest part. I know. She stirs her coffee. Can I give you some advice? Of course. When you present this to everyone, do not make it about Kilon. Make it about the company, about protecting what your father built. If you make it personal, people will see it as a family fight. If you make it about principles, they will see it as leadership. That is good advice. You are good at this, Phoenix. You just need to trust yourself. On the 6th day, Helia calls. Your father came by. We talked for 3 hours. He signed the documents. My heart stops. What did he sign? The succession structure, with you named as future managing director. Kilon will remain in the company, but with limited authority and strict oversight. Did he say why? He said he could not ignore the pattern anymore. He said he loves both his sons, but only one of them has earned his trust. I close my eyes. When does it take effect? After the meeting. He wants to announce it formally, give everyone clarity. Thank you, Helia. Phoenix, be ready. Kilon is not going to take this well. I hang up and sit in the quiet. This is it. The moment everything shifts. I should feel relieved, victorious. But all I feel is a cold, steady focus. Tomorrow, it ends. The company boardroom is on the 2nd floor. Long table, 12 chairs, windows overlooking the factory floor. I arrive early. Helia is already there, setting up her laptop. Marcel is organizing papers at the far end of the table. Ready? Helia asks. As much as I can be. Trent arrives looking calm and resolved. He nods at me, a mix of relief and regret in his eyes, like a man finally doing what he should have done years ago. Managers file in. Garrett, the department heads, the operations coordinator. They sense something big coming. Kilon arrives last in an expensive suit, confident and smiling. Morning. Sorry I'm late. Call with a potential investor. He takes the head seat. Raina slips in behind him, still fragile but recovering. Trent clears his throat. This meeting is about the company's future, leadership, accountability. Kilon smirks. Sounds serious, Dad. Making it official? Yes. Silence. I've avoided hard decisions for too long, Trent says. Recent events forced my hand. Kilon's smile thins. What events? Trent looks at me. Phoenix? I stand. 3 weeks ago at dinner, I saw my brother tamper with my drink. I moved the tray. His wife drank from that glass and ended up in the hospital with a sedative in her system. Raina pales. Kilon stiffens. That's insane, he snaps. A lie. The medical report is in front of you. I say. So are the group chat messages, and the financial records showing your personal use of company funds. Marcel stands. Confirmed. Large undocumented transfers, about 400,000 over 2 years. Garrett nods. I've seen unilateral operational decisions that risked client relationships. Kilon jumps up, face flushed. This is a setup. You're all siding with Phoenix because he's bitter. Sit down, Trent says, voice like steel. Kilon sits. I've reviewed the evidence, Trent continues. You treated this company like a personal wallet, and what happened at that dinner crossed a line I can't ignore. Dad? I'm not finished. His voice cracks. I hoped you'd grow up, you didn't, and I won't risk this company or the people who depend on it. Helia opens her laptop. With Trent's approval, a new governance structure is in place. Phoenix Halder becomes managing director, effective immediately, with full operational authority. Kilon goes white. You're giving him the company? I'm giving him the responsibility, Trent says. Something you never wanted. That's not fair. I'm the older son. You're supposed to earn it, I say, calm and cold. You never did. Kilon scans the table, but no one meets his eyes, not even Raina. Helia speaks. The documents are signed and registered. They establish financial oversight, operational accountability, and limits on family access without approval. Marcel adds, all expenses now require approval. Transfers need dual signatures. Quarterly audits are mandatory. This is insane, Kilon mutters, the fight gone from his voice. You have a choice, Trent says. Stay in a limited role under the new structure or walk away, but the decision stands. Kilon glares at me. You planned this. No, I say. You planned it. I stopped you. He shoves his chair back and storms out. Raina follows, then pauses at the doorway. I didn't know, she says softly. About the glass. Any of it. I just didn't know. Then she leaves. Silence settles. Trent rises. Phoenix takes over day-to-day operations Monday. I'll stay involved in strategy, but the company is his now. I trust him. I hope you will too. Managers nod and shake my hand on their way out. Garrett squeezes my shoulder. You'll do right by this place. Thank you. Only Trent, Helia, and I remain. How do you feel? Trent asks. I think of the years of being underestimated, the dinner table humiliation, the glass meant for me that Raina drank, and the damage Kilon would have caused. I did what needed to be done. Trent nods. So do I. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. You saw it when it mattered. He rests a hand on my shoulder. Make me proud, son. I will. Later, in the lobby, I watch the factory floor. Workers moving, machines humming, a business built on care and stability. The elevator opens. Security escorts Kilon out, holding a small box of his belongings. He doesn't look back. He walks through the lobby, out the door, gets into his car, and drives away. I turn back to the factory floor. My factory floor now. My responsibility. I earned this.